What have you seen out there of people getting nervous about canceling customers or freaking out or even raising rates? Because I think a lot of us need to do that.
Yeah, like I challenge you to ask anybody that has raised rates and they regret it. I have yet to meet anyone that does that. And so I'd recommend everyone raise their rates. Again, the reason we usually don't is either A, we think people are gonna leave, or B, we've created emotional relationships with these customers and we don't wanna offend them. And ultimately, the best thing you can do for a customer is stay in business. Because a high net worth individual, again, that has multiple millions of dollars in net worth, has a home that is the majority of their net worth, and doesn't want to have to spend any time doing lawn care, the worst thing that can happen to them is that every single spring they have to find a new landscaper. So the best thing that you can do for them is charge a price that gives you a sustainable profit margin that you're able to stay in business. Because guess what? This industry has like a 2 to 3 year turnover. And most high net worth individuals would rather pay a higher price for a good product that sticks around instead of them having to find a new guy because they don't show up every single spring. So I just challenge you, try to find someone that has raised their price and they're like, oh man, that was the worst thing for my business. All right, think about it from this perspective. You make $10,000 per month in revenue and you raise your prices by 20%. So we're gonna go from $10,000 to $12,000 per month in revenue. Now let's assume that prior to this price increase, you were running a 20% profit margin business. All right, so how much in profit we had? We would have had $2,000 in profit. If we raise our prices by 20%, that is what, $8 on a $40 mow. If we raise our prices by 20%, you just doubled your profits. Because guess what? Your expenses are still $8,000, but now your revenue is $12,000. And now you're running a 33% margin business. The asset value you create in your business, the enterprise value, is far greater than when you had 20% margin.
Blake, what do you got?
In terms of cutting down the route, we were driving about 20 minutes to probably 8 or 9 yards. And I did what you said. I had an emotional relationship, in my mind with these customers. Those 20-minute drives turn into 40, 45-minute, 50-minute drives stopping at the gas station. You guys know the whole deal. I just had to cut it off. And it was the best thing I ever did, because then we just slimmed it down and just stayed in our area and only picked up customers. And that's our new service area. So even though it's scary, even though, we're all scared to take that leap, just honing in and just making up. You just have to make it up, the service area. I always think it was this magical formula. It's just, no, this is our area. If you're outside of it, we'll refer you to somebody else.
So, Brian, I think this is actually a blessing that what happened with COVID and inflation and things like that, post that, it's very common now, as we know, that folks are raising their prices. Before that, there was companies that were going into the spring and they weren't raising their prices from the year prior, which is stunning to me, because I always use the example of Wendy's. When I was in high school, the junior bacon cheeseburger was 99 cents, when you're on that high school budget. Well, then I remember one time I went in and it was $1.09. I was like, what in the world? But it was incremental. And then it was $1.19, then $1.29, or maybe they didn't raise it by 10 cents every time, but it keeps going up and up. And then next thing you know, I go in there, it's like $1.79 for a junior bacon cheeseburger. But what Wendy's does, or Chick-fil-A, or any place, is they incrementally raise their rates, but they do it all the time, consistently. It wasn't like they just went from $1 to $2 every 10 years. They're always raising their rates. So I think it's a good habit, at the minimum, every spring going into the new season, at least once a year, raising your prices. And so now what's happening is, I think everyone raised their rates this year, but they have to do it again next spring, in my opinion, and make that just a part of the rhythm of your business. And my boy Matt LaMarche, shout out to Payjack, he taught us this. He's like, you got to train your customers that you're going to raise your rates every year. Like, they're going to expect it. Oh, Brian's going to send me the price adjustment letter, the price increase letter, like that. They're going to know you're going to send it to them going into the start of every season.